Good afternoon, everyone. We are Oxalis Adventure. We're live streaming from our beautiful Phong Nha, and today we're gonna have a small talk about the most wanted expedition of all time, Son Doong Expedition. And I'm Ngân, adventure consultant, and this is Mr. Howard Limbert, Oxalis technical advisor. He's one of the first people who ever stepped inside Son Doong Cave. And for the live stream today, we gonna ask all of the questions related to the Son Doong Cave and the expedition. If you have any questions or inquiries, just drop us your question in the comment section. We will happy to answer all of your questions. Okay, I think we should wait a little bit for the people coming and join us in the live streaming. So I think let's get started with the first question about the Son Doong Cave. I think lots of people are still wondering how Son Doong Cave was found back in 90s. And can you talk a little bit about the cave discovery?
Son Doong Cave is in a really remote area, and it was in 1990 when the entrance was first discovered by a local man, a man called Mr. Ho Kang. He discovered it when he was out in the jungle by himself, searching for rare woods, and he thought nothing of it because it wasn't important to him at the time.
Yes.
He just knew there was an entrance in the jungle with wind coming out of it and the sound of a river. He mentioned that story to me in 2000, and so I was very interested to find this particular cave because we'd always been looking for the link between Hang En and the cave where the water comes out. So we knew there was a big cave, but we just couldn't find it. So we searched for 9 years looking for that cave. And finally, in 2009, Mr. Ho Kang took us to the entrance of Son Doong, and we were lucky enough to be the first people ever to go inside Son Doong in 2009.
That's how the cave was found.
That's how it was
So
originally
you
found.
started the research from 2009 until now.
Oh, it's from 1990 until now. But we didn't know about the caves in the really distant jungle at that time.
Okay.
It wasn't until 1994 when we discovered Hang En, where we realised there were really enormous caves in this area, that we knew there should be a very big cave there. And we searched for it for a while, but we couldn't find it. But Mr. Ho Kang discovered it, and he took us to it in 2009.
Okay, thank you so much, Park. I think we can get into a little bit to the expedition, because people still have a lot of questions about the physical fitness, like do I need trekking experience? Do I need to have climbing experience, or do I have to know how to swim? So
Okay.
could you?
Yeah, you don't need to know how to swim.
Yes.
We won't be doing any swimming. You can swim. There are places where you can swim, but you don't need to swim at all going into Son Doong. Wherever we go in deep water, we always wear life jackets. So swimming is not essential. Climbing and caving experience is also not essential. It is useful if you've done some walking, because it's not a flat path in Son Doong, and there's quite a lot of scrambling around on quite large rocks. So it helps to have done some trekking, especially over a little bit of rough terrain. That makes it much easier and more enjoyable for you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. And how about the physical fitness? What kind of shape, like, do I need to be, or in order to able to prepare for the trek?
Well, like I say, it helps if you've done some outdoor experience. So people who have done some walking and maybe camping overnight, that will be fine. That'll be excellent.
Yeah.
You don't need to be, like I say, a caver or a climber or a super athlete, but you've got to have a little bit of outdoor experience, and prepared for outdoor experience. This makes it more enjoyable for yourself. We look after people very well. We look after the safety of the people. But you don't have to be incredibly fit. We've had some amazingly fit people. We've had people that just do genuine outdoor things, go walking, do nice overnight walking, and they won't have any problems in the cave.
Could you go into a little bit more details, like should they do regular activities like running, cycling, or gym?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people can't go out all the time, so it's useful doing things like swimming, like cycling, but walking. If you do go out walking, especially in the outdoors, like on trails, not just in the big cities, but if you can go outside and go walking, do genuine treks, going up hills and things, that will make a big difference, because in Son Doong there's quite a lot of hills, maybe 100, 150 metre hills inside the cave. And it's not really that's the most difficult thing, it's the terrain that's more difficult. So if you've got a good sense of balance, that really helps.
Good sense of balance, yes, I agree with you. That's really useful for whoever adventure out there. You want to conquer Son Doong, you should start with a good balance of the activities like running, cycling, or even yoga or gym also useful, right?
Yeah, lots.
Yes.
But yoga is very useful. We have quite a lot of people
Yeah.
who do quite a lot of yoga, and that does seem to help because they do have a good sense of balance when they do yoga.
Yes.
And yeah, we've had a number of people who do quite a lot of yoga, and they do very, very well.
Thank you so much. Let's talk a little bit about the very outstanding highlight of the tour is the Great Wall of Vietnam. How high is the Great Wall of Vietnam, and how do I climb up the Great Wall of Vietnam? What if I feel tired while climbing on the Great Wall of Vietnam?
Great Wall of Vietnam is just a fantastic thing, and everybody enjoys it. People get a little bit worried about it, but it's nothing to be worried about. We look after people well. It's 95 meters tall, and when you're actually climbing the Great Wall of Vietnam, you're in a complete body harness, a sit harness and a chest harness, and attached to a safety line. You climb up a ladder for the first 20 meters, so that's very, very easy. It's a big stainless steel stable ladder. And the next 75 meters is climbing using ropes. So you're climbing ropes, but it's not vertical. It's just off vertical. So it's relatively easy. And I don't know if you understand, but it's much easier going up than down. So actually climbing the Great Wall of Vietnam is not too difficult because it's uphill, and it's really easy to go uphill because you can see where you're putting your feet. There's good footholds all the way up, and you're getting a nice pull on the lifeline to keep it nice and taut. And halfway up there's a big ledge, huge ledge where you can sit and have a rest. And it generally takes people about 10-12 minutes to climb the Great Wall.
Yes.
And people find it relatively easy.
Yes. So any tips for climbing up the Great Wall of Vietnam?
Don't look down.
Don't
That's the
look
best
down.
tip. If you're a little bit scared of heights, don't
Yes.
look down because it's a long way down. It's 95 meters. But it's quite easy. You can just stare at the wall and watch where you're pulling on the rope. That's the most important thing.
Yes.
Don't look down
Thank
if
you
you're
so
scared
much.
of heights.
Yes, that's a really, really useful tip. Okay, so what if I'm not fit enough to complete the tour? So can I follow any training program to prepare?
Yeah, well, everybody fills in a questionnaire, and we check that questionnaire. Very, very rarely we turn anybody back. I think it's 0.2%. I think we've turned back 8 people in 6 years.
Wow.
So it's only a handful of people. Most people decide themselves they want to turn back. It's too difficult. They don't like the jungle or the type of walking. It's very, very rare. If we get them to Son Doong, invariably we get them through Son Doong because we look after people really well.
Yes.
The best training to do Son Doong is to go out walking, especially walking over on rough paths, climbing on not a flat concrete path. If you can walk on rough paths and hopefully go up and down hills, that is the best training for Son Doong.
Yes, great. Thank you. So for the training program, what else that we can do beside can I just do the stair like around?
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. I mean, a lot of people are living in cities and they can't go out at the weekends, so we get a lot of people who go to gyms but also going up and down stairs because it's just a little bit of good physical fitness.
Yes.
And a lot of people put a bit of effort before they go into Son Doong, do some training, and if they cannot go to gyms and cannot go out every weekend going walking, great, get yourself out going up and down stairs.
Yes.
Anything like that will help them, and it makes it much better for the tour because you don't find it too difficult. They find it easier, and you get more enjoyment out of the tour if you're not physically tired all the time.
Okay, thank you so much, Beck. So if you are an office people, you can do the stair like around the 5th or 6th floor would be useful for you to prepare for the Son Doong tour. Okay, let's move on for the next section about packing. So what sort of clothing that should we bring for the tour?
Lightweight clothing, obviously. Ones that dry fairly quickly is also a good idea. We usually recommend people bring t-shirts, either long sleeved and maybe short sleeve, but definitely 1 or 2 pairs of long sleeve t-shirt is useful. Colourful helps as well, because you're going to take lots of photographs because it's outrageously beautiful. And it's much better if you've got some colourful clothes, then you stand out in the pictures. Long pants, always recommend long pants. Lots and lots of close knitted socks, these smart wool socks, or socks are very important. You want to be changing your socks every day, because you're going to be walking in water. You will get wet, and there's quite a lot of silt in the water.
Yes.
So it is a good idea to have a few pairs of socks. We recommend 3 sets of clothes to bring down Son Doong.
3 to 6.
3 sets of clothes.
3 sets, yes.
Yeah, 3 sets of clothes. Obviously bring quite a lot of your underwear and socks, that's no problem at all.
Yes.
That's what we would recommend to bring. Everything else we look after.
Thank you. So 3 sets of clothes already enough for a trip to Son Doong. But remember, bring enough like panties for 4 days and 3 nights.
Can I add something? The most important thing is the footwear.
Footwear.
Yeah, have something that you're comfortable in, something that's got a good grip.
Yes.
Because footwear is the most important thing about Son Doong, and looking after your feet. Because you're going to be wet and you're walking over rough rocks, and sometimes it can be a little bit slippy. So good quality footwear makes a huge difference to the capabilities of people going through Son Doong.
Yeah, exactly. So what kind of footwear you recommend?
Oh, there's a lot of good ones about now, an awful lot. The Adidas do them, a new one called a Terex that's just come out, a Terex Scope, that's a brand new boot out, that is sticky rubber, that's fantastic for the toe. Sportiva, a lot of people use Salomons.
Yes.
Salomons are very good, especially if it's early on in the season when it's quite muddy.
Yes.
Salomons are fantastic in those conditions.
Yes.
Shoes like that, approach shoes, rather than big boots, I would recommend not bringing big Gore-Tex boots, because you're going to be walking in water that's quite deep, so it doesn't really help having Gore-Tex material, because it's going to go over your knees and possibly to your waist. So waterproof footwear is not brilliant, really. It's not a good idea.
Yes, that really helps. And also, I would like to add one information that if you do not have your own shoe at the last minute, or you do not have enough time to prepare, we always have shoes for you to borrow from size 36 to 46.
Yeah.
However, it's made with basic quality and it can hurt your feet. You should prepare at least 2 pair of socks to avoid blisters.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're quite good at those Cambodian jungle boots. They're
Yes.
good for the river crossings,
Yes.
because they drain, and a lot of people use them.
Yes.
And they are very good, as
lots
long
of
as
our
they're
customers.
aware that they're a little bit hard on your feet.
Yes.
But a lot of people have like insoles in their own shoes, and they bring them along and put them inside
Yes.
those shoes.
Yeah.
And they're very, very good.
Yeah, you can also bring your insoles beside the socks to help you avoid blister. Yes. Okay, so another question is, what items that I should give to the porters to carry?
Everything.
Everything?
Everything except a water bottle, camera, a hat, and some sun cream. We don't expect customers to carry an awful lot. They'll have to carry their own water, the camera, because you want to be taking pictures as you go along, and maybe a hat when you're outside the cave. Everything else the porters will carry, and they will take it to camp the next day. I mean, we don't like to overburden the porters, so we recommend people not to bring a lot of items that are not necessary down the cave.
Yes.
The porters are carrying a lot of equipment, but they will take all the equipment that is required for people, all the spare clothes, anything that they're going to require, maybe some charging packs, things like that,
Yes.
any entertainment things that they want in the evening, the porters will carry. All the customers will have to carry is very limited. Water bottles. One thing that I've got to mention that you must carry is your helmet and your light.
Yes.
I nearly forgot that. That's quite important.
And they are provided by
They are provided
Oxalis.
by Oxalis,
Yes.
but you, the customer, will have to carry them. Obviously, in the cave, you'll be wearing the helmet and light, but in between, such as Hang Eng Cave and Son Doong Cave, when you're walking in the jungle, you'll have to carry your helmet.
Yes.
So a small size day sack, about 20 litres, is perfect for Son Doong, 20-25 litre sack.
Yes. So that is we carry, like the customer gonna carry those things, but
Yeah.
for the porters, they're gonna carry only
Everything.
for spare clothes, personal items like they need to use at the campsite.
Yeah,
So the porter
toiletries,
gonna
towels.
go on another route, and
Oh, they go exactly the same route as ourselves. The
but
porters will
they
the same
go
route.
sooner, like
Oh, they're a lot
before.
faster.
Yeah,
A lot faster than we
yes.
are. Yeah, a lot faster. So everything will be
So,
there. So by the time you get to camp, the porters will be there, all your equipment will be there, your tents, your sleeping bag will all be set up.
Right.
Yeah, it's really
Yes.
easy for them. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so interesting. So how about you already mentioned about the helmets, the gloves, and rope and caving equipment. They are provided by Oxalis
Everything's
Adventure.
provided in place. So all the technical equipment,
Yeah.
helmets, lights, all the ropes, all the harnesses, all our safety equipment,
Yes.
and all we bring things like satellite phones, walkie-talkies, all the emergency equipment,
Yes.
all our first aid kits is all carried along with us and in place in the cave.
Great. Okay, so let's move on to the caving and the camping. What is the weather like in the jungle and the cave?
Well, in the cave it's perfect.
Yeah.
23 degrees all the time, winter and summer. So it's perfect temperatures.
Yeah.
All the caves in Vietnam are around 22, 23 degrees.
Yes.
So it's wonderful.
Yes.
You know, shorts and t-shirt at campsites, fantastic weather. Not the same in the jungle. Obviously it can get really, really hot like it is now, very, very hot. It can often be 35 and plus degrees in the jungle, especially in the summer months. So it can be very hot in the jungle, but once you get in the cave, it's got a lovely wind going through it, like an air conditioning system. So everybody's desperate to get into the caves. So all the caves like Son Doong and Hang En that we'll visit during the expedition are beautiful, beautiful conditions.
So will it get colder at night in the cave?
No, not much. Certainly not in the summer months. From say March onwards, it won't vary at all. And actually, in the cave, it's always the same temperature. It's only the wind that goes through the caves that can be a little bit colder. So in the winter months of say January and February, it can be a little bit colder, and the wind that can through the cave can make it a bit cooler. So we suggest in the winter months people bring some lightweight fleeces.
Yes.
But once you get in your tent and in your sleeping bag, lovely and warm.
Yeah.
Whereas from March onwards, it's just perfect conditions in the cave, and you might have to put your sleeping bag on you maybe at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
So to our customers who really worry about the cold at night in the Son Doong Cave, don't worry. Our sleeping bags already good enough to keep you warm, but you can bring your extra like lightweight fleece or windproof jacket, also useful, right?
Only for winter.
It's for the winter, yes.
In the summer, do not. It's a complete waste of time. So from March onwards, do not bring any waterproof clothes, because if it does rain, it'll be lovely and warm will the rain, and very pleasant will the rain. So don't worry about getting cold.
Yes.
You will not get cold.
Okay.
Just perfect temperatures.
Yes, great. So how about the sleeping and or bedding condition in the cave?
If you've done any outdoor activities and been camping, it's much better than you'll ever experience in your life. It's not really camping, it's more glamping, as they say. We do provide 2 foam mats, a foam mat and a carry mat that you sleep on, so it's very comfortable. It's invariably you're going to be sleeping on sand, so it's nice and flat and very comfy. We also even provide a pillow, and the sleeping bags are more than adequate for the temperatures that we're going to get. So it's comfort. If you find it not comfort, maybe you shouldn't be on this tour, because it is an adventure tour, but it's high quality.
Yes, really
high
comfy,
quality.
like at home.
Yeah.
And also, the most common questions that I usually receive is how do we go to the toilet at the campsite?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously find that as a very common question, but the toilet system is a fantastic system. It's a Swedish system that we set up. It's a composting toilet system.
Yes.
So all the waste that we produce is taken out of the cave and composted. That's the first and most important thing. So it's an excellent system for the environment. It's a very clean, non-smelly system that we have. It's a Western toilet, but instead of being things that flush away, you go into a bucket. And what we've got in Vietnam is lots of rice husks. That's the shells of the rice husks. So after you've been to the toilet, cover it up. There is no smell, and then that does compost down. So it's a very clean system. Obviously, there's no smell around, and the private toilets. And for 10 customers, we'll have 2 toilets.
Yes.
So at every camp, there's always 2 toilets for the customers. Every dinner time spot, there'll be two like at the entrance to Son Doong and door line 1. There is toilets available, so there's no problem. And the only time where they may have to go into the jungle is walk into the cave on the first day. Then it's a more natural toilet out in the jungle, but it's not far to the first toilets.
Yes.
You're not far away from toilets at any time.
Yes. So that is the toilet really
Don't worry about the
convenient.
toilets.
Yes.
The toilets are the least of their worries.
So, will there be places for us to shower inside the cave or in the tour?
Well, we don't have showers. We don't have showers, jacuzzis. It is an adventure tour.
Yes.
But there's plenty of places for swimming.
Yes.
So on day 1 and day 2, lots and lots of places where you can have a nice bathe in nice temperatures. Day 3 is cold. Sorry, get that right. Day 3 is no water. The camp is completely dry.
Yes.
Early on in the season, probably until April, there's a lake, so we can go for a swim in the lake. But after April, generally the lake disappears. So from April to August, often there's no lake. So we advise strongly for day 3 and day 3 only, use like baby wipes, wet wipes,
wet wipe.
to keep yourself fresher and clean. But the rest of the time on day 1, you're in the water a lot, so there's ample bathing opportunities. And day 2 on the way, plenty of bathing opportunities. And near camp, 5 minutes from camp, there's bathing opportunities. I'm not saying you can wash in the cave, but you can bathe, and it makes you feel clean and refreshed.
Yes, great.
And day 4, a high-class resort with showers, swimming pools, so no problem.
Yes, fantastic. So a little bit going to the big concern about the wildlife. Will the customer encounter any dangerous animals or poisonous plants in the jungle or the cave?
Right, well, we'll show people certain plants that are itchy, like poison ivy,
Yes.
but we keep them all away from that, and we cut them down, the poison ivy, so people don't get covered in poison ivy.
Yes.
So that's the only plant problem. Dangerous animals, there's a number of spiders around in Vietnam, but none are poisonous in Vietnam, so spiders are not a big problem for us. Snakes, occasionally come across snakes, and a number of those are poisonous. So obviously we don't go playing with snakes or doing anything silly with snakes. If generally though, any snakes that are present, if anybody sees one, and it's fairly rare to see them, but if we do, we keep people away from them, and invariably our guides and our porters see them first and move them away before customers come along.
Yes.
But what we will see on most tours is leeches. People are really concerned about leeches, but there's no problem. They're not dangerous at all. They don't do anything but make you bleed a little bit. But there is a chance that you will come across leech, and there's a good chance that somebody on the tour, I don't think I've ever done a tour where one person on the tour has not had a leech on them at some stage. But they're no danger, don't pass on any infections or anything, and they're easy to remove.
So how can I avoid the leeches?
Yeah, I mean that's what we do. We show people how that's done. Wear long pants and tuck your long pants in your socks.
Yes.
Because you've got to remember, leeches come from the floor. It's not Hollywood where in Hollywood they fall from the ceiling and from the trees. That doesn't happen. They always come from the floor. So if you wear your long pants and tuck them in your socks, then the leeches can't get into you. And as they're climbing up, you can see them, and we can take them off and remove them.
Okay, great. That's a good tips. So there's no like chemical products to avoid leeches. You can just use the long sleeve shirt and long pants to
that's
avoid
fine.
them.
It doesn't really. I mean, some people put some like DEET, the anti-mosquito thing on. There's no mosquitoes. There's absolutely no mosquitoes in the caves. So we never bring any insect repellent. It's only in the jungle where you may come across it, but it's very, very rare. That it's incredibly lacking in mosquitoes and nasty things. It's really pleasant conditions. You can spray a little bit on, but because you're walking through rivers half of the time, it'll wash off. So if you have one on, sometimes we will carry some mosquito spray, because if you spray a leech, it kills it instantly and they fall off.
Okay.
So we will carry that, or alcohol, but generally we'll just pull them off people if you get a leech.
Yes.
But it's nothing to worry about. Leeches are nothing to worry about. They're not the most dangerous animal in the jungle.
Yeah, now people may feel like relieved about the leeches.
Some people are really worried about it, and it's just a bit of fun, bit of laugh. They don't do anything at all.
Yes.
I'm sure you'll see one on the tour if they go on the tour though.
Yes. Okay, that's about the wildlife that you are concerned about. So let's talk about the electric device. Like, deep into the jungle, the cave, will there be 3G or Wi-Fi there?
What do you think? No, it is a common question that people ask.
Yes, the people still ask.
Yeah, they do. No, there is nothing. Once you leave Phong Nha, there is no signal. That's why we bring satellite phones for emergencies. There is no Wi-Fi. I know it's a big thing not having 4G or 3G throughout the day. People can't do it without the social media. But that's one good thing. So for 4 days, you're going to be away from social media.
Yes.
It is advisable for people who are bringing phones that are using for cameras, is to bring a small power pack. Then they can charge them up very easily, because they'll take many pictures. So they'll forget using the phones for internet, and they'll concentrate on using the phones for taking fantastic pictures.
Yes.
Because these days we've got amazing lights that we bring down Son Doong. They're very, very powerful lights, 40,000 lumen. So we can take a lot of wonderful pictures, even using phones. Not only cameras, but phones will get amazing pictures.
Yes. Yeah.
So answer your question, no Wi-Fi.
No
And
Wi-Fi.
it's a relief to be away from
Well
it.
noted. So also if I bring my camera or my phone, how can I charge them?
Well, I advise people to bring a number of spare batteries, but for phones it's really easy. People bring small power packs to charge them once or twice during the tour, and that's more than adequate. So a small power pack people generally bring on a tour. It's very common. We'll bring some ourselves, but generally most customers bring a small power pack that enables them to charge up.
Okay, so talking about the nature, the cave, and electric device, some people want to bring drones. So is it allowed to bring drone on the tour?
We are only allowed to bring drones when we've got official permission from the ministries in Vietnam. So if it's a film company that are coming, they will apply to the ministries and get the proper official permission, which costs money.
Yes.
If you bring a drone into Vietnam and you get x-rayed, which you invariably get x-rayed as you come through customs, they'll take your drone off you. You've got to have permission now. It's a new law in Vietnam, and the national park look after that and make sure nobody flies drones in Vietnam. So it's not possible, but obviously if we're on a specific photography trip or a specific filming trip that's obtained permissions, no problem at all, but you've got to go through official channels. There's nothing we can do about it, I'm afraid. And I advise people not to bring drones into Vietnam, because whilst you're going through customs, if you have a drone, they will x-ray it and they will remove it and give it back to you when you leave Vietnam.
Wow. Okay, so to sum up, the drone is not allowed in our tour.
It's not in our control. It's a rule from Vietnam and from the national park. It's out of our control. We're not nobody. It's not just people going down Son Doong. Nobody's supposed to bring. I know they do occasionally, but nobody's supposed to bring drones into Vietnam. So we cannot allow drones to be flown.
Yes. So another questions that lots of our customers are also concerning about, that is the price of the tours. So how much is Son Doong Expedition, and why the cost is high, and what is included in the tour so make it so high?
It's been the same price since we first did the tour in 2013. The price is $3,000, and it's not going to change from that, because basically it costs a lot of money like that, because there's a lot of outgoings when we set up Son Doong. And it's not just the equipment and all the team, but there's a big fee. There's over $660 is a national park fee. So for every person who goes into Son Doong, $660 goes to the national park as a conservation fee. That's out of our control as well. So a good sum of that money goes to the national park. Equipment costs, because we use top quality equipment in the tour, and it's all imported from France, the UK and Europe's equipment such as Petzl, Beal. We bring the top quality equipment in, so the customers will have brand new equipment, and every year we replace all our equipment. It's all top quality equipment. Just for instance, to climb the wall this year, Oxalis spent over about $80,000 in equipment just to supply for the customers and all our porter team, because we all use top quality equipment. The porters as well as the customers are all looked after the same. So the equipment cost, and on every tour there's around 30 people involved, as well as the customers. There'll be 30 other people with the porters, the chefs, the caving expert, the Oxalis guides, and all the safety assistants who will look after customers. So it's a big operation. It's not a small operation. This is a big operation looking after people in Son Doong, hence the cost.
And also in the package we add because the tour will be run in 4 days and 3 nights, plus 1 night before and 1 night after the tour at the local hotel here. Yes. And we also offer the complimentary transfer between Dong Hoi and Phong Nha before and after tour. And also Howard just mentioned, back up the tour, we have more than 30 people to support you during the tour, to make it successful.
And the hotel's good. The hotel that customers go before and after are the best that's available in the area. It's not cheap hotels, it's good quality hotels, and the food, as the customers will find on the tour, is top quality. Really top quality. They will not go hungry on the tour.
So for other questions that I usually have, so do I need to purchase the insurance for this tour, any medical or travel insurance that I should purchase?
Well, anybody who, especially foreign people who are coming to Vietnam, they should always have travel insurance. Any sensible person would have some travel insurance, and it's not just for Son Doong, it's for travelling throughout the world. If anything goes wrong, you need travel insurance. So obviously, travel medical cover insurance is essential, not only for Son Doong but for coming to any country.
But also for travel insurance is really useful for those, because $3,000 is quite a high price. So if anything problem happens, that unexpected problem, so they can get covered for that.
That's a good point. I didn't think of. I was just thinking when they get here, but sometimes something happens before they could injure themselves. They can't come, so it's worth having travel insurance. Definitely, yes.
So also another question that I think is really necessary. If I do not speak English, can I join the tour?
Oh yeah, we have many people who can't speak English. Obviously it's easy if you speak Vietnamese, because we've got many people that speak Vietnamese. A number of our guides as well in the team can speak different languages, like Korean, Chinese, and a number of languages in Spanish, so we usually can look after most people. We don't have any Japanese translators, which is a shame, because we're getting a lot of people from Japan, and often many of them don't speak English. But yes, you don't need to be able to speak English to survive on the tour. We'll be able to communicate some way and explain to people how to do the tour and look after them safely. That's not a problem. They'll be very well looked after, very, very safely.
So at least the basic communication English would be useful.
It does help.
Really
very
useful for the tour. So it's necessary to have a basic English.
It does help having basic English. You get more out of it because we can give much more information, either in Vietnamese or in English. We can give all the information in English, the technical side of it, and the geology and how caves are made, and the history of Son Doong. So if you can understand a little bit of English, you'll get much more out of it. But not all of our customers. And we've had customers that can't speak any, and they still think it's wonderful. They still think it's the best tour they've ever done. Every single person who goes on our tour think it's the most amazing thing that they've done. So it's not essential English.
Okay, thank you so much, Park, for all the answer. Really useful for all the adventurers who are like dreaming to join the Son Doong Expedition in the future. So I think that is our live streaming today. And if you have any questions, as I see, there are lots coming from our like follower on the fan page. We will drop you the answer right after the live streaming, and maybe you can send a small question via the message inbox message of the fan page. We're happy to help you with the preparation for the tour. Thank you for watching, and thank you for Howard for coming today. We really having a useful talks for the future adventurer to Son Doong Expedition. Thank you for watching, and see you soon for the next live stream. Goodbye.